This video talk is for those who do not practice jhanas and may have this doubt that their path in Dhamma is deprived of experience. So please don't think like that, because I'm going to tell you another way of how you're going to have an insight into three characteristics. Because we know that practicing jhanas is actually a preparatory step for the Vipassana practice, where we are supposed to get an insight into three characteristics and continue to understand Dhamma deeply. So before we can practice jhanas, we actually also have to do another preparatory work. So jhanas are preparatory stage for Vipassana, but jhanas themselves require a preparatory stage, anapanasati. And everybody can practice anapanasati, but unfortunately not everybody can practice jhanas according to the conditions and causes from previous lives. So people will just have to stay with anapanasati forever, and they will never touch Vipassana, and they will never have the taste of the truth of ever-changing, selfless, impermanent nature. But if they practice in a direct way, in a natural way, well, not that the other one is not natural, but they are still, please fly, don't bother me. When we practice jhanas, we really need to create a concentration of our mind. Maybe concentration is a word which is too much, because it creates some tension, I guess, even the word itself. So there should be kind of collectedness of the mind, and there should be ekaggata, one-pointedness. So we use often the breath as the practice of anapanasati, the mindfulness of the breath, or kasinas. There are many objects that can serve as an object to create concentration with one point that would lead us to jhanas. So one of the most popular objects is the breath. So a practitioner should spend a lot of time usually to learn how to manipulate the practice. This is why I said the other method is more natural, because here I can allow myself using this word manipulating, because we try to reject all other objects appearing in the mind and accept only the breath or the other object which is chosen for our concentration practice. In both ways, we start working with the scattered mind, the mind which has a lot of ideas, or thinking, or remembering, or going to the future, and also pays attention and gets irritated by sensations in the body, and gets attracted to see something, to hear something. Well, if we meditate with the eyes closed, at least this scene is not the factor that is going to be a disturbance, because in that practice, all those objects are a disturbance. We are supposed to stay with one chosen object only. And let's go now to the second option of practice. For those who don't practice jhanas, we can start practicing Vipassana right away. We also start with the scattered mind, the monkey mind, the busy mind, but we don't reject any object, and we get to know the nature of the mind as it is. The nature of the ignorant mind, untrained mind, unstable mind is like that there are so many objects where mind wants to go and to attach. So we practice mindfulness of the present moment with detachment. What does it mean? It means that we try to be aware in every moment of whatever arises in that moment. And we don't attach, we detach, we let go. We don't try to stick to the same object and to bring this experience to the new moment and the new moment and the new moment, like we do in the anapanasati or other concentration methods. Here we are in Vipassana, and we are looking for insight. But of course, with this scattered mind and unstable mind, we won't have the insight right away, but we will start training the mind for getting that insight immediately, right away. We train it by letting the nature be as it is. We accept the nature of an untrained mind, of a dirty mind. So we welcome every object which arises in our field of attention, field of mindfulness, and we let go of this object. By this means, we may see that another object will appear. We cannot program, we cannot control, we are not going to control. Like in the other practice, we are controlling which object should appear. We control it to be the breath specifically. Here we don't control, we just let any object come in, and this already shows to our mind the characteristic of anatta, that everything happens on its own. Any object comes on its own. And we see the impermanence, because as it comes, it goes. And we see dukkha. We see dukkha. The more we meditate, the more we also understand dukkha, because objects keep coming, even if we let go of them, even if we don't attach, objects keep appearing and appearing and appearing. And there is no end to this life, there is no end to the appearing. Even though it disappears, it appears again. And what happens is that the practice of Vipassana, immediate Vipassana, step by step, pulls and makes friends with concentration. Concentration appears step by step naturally. As much as we stay in the present moment with every new object naturally, we keep our mindfulness from one moment to the next one, and by this means we also kind of have this repetitive action of mindfulness from one moment to the other, but with the nature of the scattered mind with different objects. We stay natural, and concentration appears naturally just by this repetitive action of mindfulness. While in the other practice, we reject other objects and we try to develop concentration with one object only, because there we aim for ekaggata. Ekaggata is important not that much for samadhi as much it is important exactly for entering jhanas. Then in jhanas you clear the mind from defilements in order to be able to have the insight into the three characteristics when you will start your Vipassana later. Here, by mindfulness and detachment in every moment which develops concentration, we slowly, little by little, start seeing the impermanence, anicca, we start seeing dukkha, suffering, unsatisfactoriness, and we start seeing anatta, no self that can correct this unsatisfactoriness and this impermanence. Together with that, because we accept everything, every object, so we accept also the hindrances, we accept also the disturbances, we accept every object as it is. We recognize them as hindrance or as any ignorance arising on the mind, but we let go. With the time and the persistent repetition of such observation, we develop disinterest in the objects themselves, and rather we start paying attention to the characteristics of these objects. We start seeing the ever-changing, selfless, impermanent nature. This is already the insight into the three characteristics. And this is how we develop this insight, by going into Vipassana right away, accepting naturally the scattered mind, and passing to one and the same object of change, of ever-changing, selfless, impermanent nature, naturally by making the mind collected by our mindfulness and detachment in every moment. So two different ways and the same result of understanding three characteristics by Vipassana and making mind steady and pure. I think these were the main ideas that I wanted to highlight in this video, and I hope this gives some hope to those practitioners who cannot practice jhanas and they can still practice Vipassana and understand the Dhamma.